Kyler Murray, a deep shot. How about 80 yards to the house, just like that? Put some air underneath it, and it's intercepted. Another Cowboys turnover.
Great Monday night victory for us. Can't ask for much more.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to First Take, coming to you live from the Seaport District at Pier 17, brought to you by Chase. All right, y'all, after last night's blowout loss, the Cowboys are now 2-4, yet they are still in first place. Unbelievable, Jeff Saturday. I know I can get a smile out of you up that. I saw you serving pancakes this morning on Get Up. You were entertaining me as we were writing the show, getting set. That segment's a lot of fun. Good to see you, sir. But you guys know who I'm starting with, this man.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, Stephen A. You think the Cowboys made a mistake hiring Mike McCarthy?
You know something, I gotta tell you.
Oh, it's Southern Steve. Sorry,
I didn't know who was coming. I really don't know the answer to this question. I mean, I really don't know. I would tell you that it appears to be an emphatic yes. I mean, after all, when your offense, Mike McCarthy himself has said he prioritizes holding on to the football. Didn't he say that, Max? I think he said that. But it's not stopping Ezekiel Elliott from fumbling the football. Mike McCarthy says that, you know what, he no longer wants to be perceived as some archaic dude that's beyond his prime and stuff like that. I mean, I'm just wondering about what I'm seeing from these Cowboys. On the defensive side of the ball, he's got a defensive coordinator, Mike Nolan. There's a guy that was in Atlanta. Last time we saw him as a defensive coordinator, Jeff Saturday, and was in the ATL in 2014. That man had the 31st ranked defense in the National Football League. That's second to last, okay? So bad, in fact, that nobody, and I do mean nobody, thought about making this dude the defensive coordinator for the last 6 years until Mike McCarthy comes out of being fired, gets a new job, and you would think that this man has learned the error of his ways and would have new fresh blood infused into these Dallas Cowboys. And what does he do? He hires this man as his defensive coordinator. So their secondary stinks, their pass rush is suspect, the linebacker coach. I mean, my brother Jalen Smith looked pretty bad out there, getting exposed constantly. I think it's schematic, more so than him. Leighton Vander Esch came back. We was expecting some things from him. That didn't work out. In the end, when you look at the Dallas Cowboys, here's what it comes down to. They stink! Period. Now, somehow, some way, we got to hope that they get it together. Me, personally, I wouldn't mind seeing them elevate a little bit just so they could plummet a little bit deeper. That's just my personal opinion. But in the end, what it comes down to is that these brothers, right now, they're not a team. They're just a bunch of parts trying to mix and match their way to victory in the worst division in NFL history, that is the 2020 version of the NFC East. It is what it is. It's sad. And I think some of that is on Mike McCarthy primarily because of that defensive coordinator he hired.
Well, let me tell you a little story before I'll start by saying this. The Dallas Cowboys started with the offensive line. A lot of people talk about the O-line. They put their money where their mouth was in draft picks. Draft after draft after draft. Their first-round pick went to an offensive line, so they had the best offensive line in the game. That made their running backs all look better than they actually were. That includes Ezekiel Elliott. He's a great back, but he looked even better than he was behind that offensive line. Like Emmitt Smith once upon a time, when he looked better than Barry Sanders at times, but Sanders was really the best. And that includes the quarterback and everything. Okay, the offensive line's not there anymore. They're all gone. It's not the same offensive line. Forget that kind of Cowboys team, right? So Ezekiel Elliott's not as good. Dak Prescott's not even there. And the defense is no good, and we already knew that. That's who the Dallas Cowboys really are. That's what Mike McCarthy's dealing with. But I want to tell you a little story about an owner named Jerry Jones, who look, Jimmy Johnson was his coach. Jimmy Johnson took a one-win team and in a couple of years coached them up to a Super Bowl team and won a couple Super Bowls, but got a little too much credit for Jerry Jones, who gets rid of him because that guy's getting too much credit. Barry Switzer comes in and with Jimmy Johnson's team wins one more. But that was kind of a disappointing end to that, what looked like a dynasty for years. Still 3 Super Bowls, pretty good, right? Jerry Jones wanted to do it his way. Even brought in Parcells at one point. Oh, that guy gets too much credit, too big an ego, too big a name, get rid of him. So what has he looked for since then? Head coaches that wouldn't take the shine off of Jerry, wouldn't take the attention away. It's more important for Jerry Jones to soothe his own ego and to put the spotlight on himself than it is to win a Super Bowl. Otherwise, why would he hire those kind of coaches? Now, Jason Garrett was his guy, right? His guy. Wasn't good enough. So what does he do? He has to look around for a guy with pedigree so people can't say, oh, it's another Jason Garrett hire, right? We can all agree with this, but a guy he can control. A guy, if they have success and they win a Super Bowl, Jerry gets the credit. Mike McCarthy, the league changed. He's a Super Bowl coach once upon a time. The league changed. He didn't change with the league. So he was out of a job. No one was banging down his door. He wasn't some hot coaching name. The Cowboys hire him because it's just what I said it was, and after the fact say, well, Mike McCarthy did some soul searching. He's really into analytics now. He gets it. Mike McCarthy's not there because they think he's the best coach for the job. If the job is winning a Super Bowl, he's there because he's the best coach with a name who can appease the fan base, make it look like they have a real coach, and won't take the shine off of Jerry and will be dictated to by Jerry Jones. So this is what you get. I thought when they hired Mike McCarthy that was the case. I still think it today.
As much as I appreciate the the vigor which you're talking about, I do believe Jerry Jones wants to win a Super Bowl. So, whatever coach he decides is the best coach, I don't think Jerry wants to tank, just so it can be his team. I mean, I understand back in the day with Jimmy Johnson and the switch to Switzer, I get all those things. But now I do think Jerry wants to win.
Of course he wants to win,
Both of you touched
Jeff.
on some really good points.
He just doesn't want to win bad enough to make the best hire.
Well, here's your issue. I think Jerry understands and knows his team. Both of you touched on some good points. His teams aren't good enough to win right now. You talked about the offensive line where they put all these assets, right? They had all these guys, right? Smith's gone. Collins has gone to injury. Frederick retires, right? Those are three pillars. Martin, I know he went down yesterday, but he was really their only claim to fame of that vaunted offensive line. So it's been difficult and different in that regard. Last night was not some epiphany. Their line has played bad this entire year. This has not been just a one-off last night for Andy Dalton in the way they played. Their star players are not protecting the football, which is a head coaching issue. You heard him take ownership of that, being Mike McCarthy, right? And saying, listen, and I played on a Mike McCarthy team, right? And he does start practice with ball security. He has drills where everybody does that for whatever reason, whether it was Dak Prescott or Andy Dalton or Ezekiel Elliott or anybody else, name them, they've all taken turns at dropping the ball, right? So to that issue, they have to get that fixed, and that is McCarthy's responsibility to get that part fixed. The difference for me are head coaches. It's not about X's and O's. It's as much as it is about developing the coaches underneath you, right? Your coordinators have to be guys, right? They have to be the smartest in the building. You have to get the guys who not only are going to motivate your team, but they are detailed X's and O's guys. The head coach really doesn't have to be that. He has so many different things going on. He doesn't have to be the most up to date on what's going on in the league in these different areas. That's really not their responsibility. What's happened is with Nolan and this defense is not only is the team performing poorly, players are performing individually. They are playing. So it's not just scheme, right? Like last night, the touchdown to Kirk, that was not a scheme issue. He is in a good call where the corner should travel, and he's standing flat-footed at 10 yards, and the guy runs right by him, and Murray throws a bomb for a touchdown.
Jeff.
There's not a whole lot you can do different as a coordinator with Mike Nolan to say, hey, I got to put him in a better position. What's happening is they're getting exposed in scheme, and then the players aren't meeting that, which, again, that is a head coaching issue, right? If effort is an issue, then the head coach has to address